Hello, everyone. It's hard to know that I'm giving Divrei Chizuk, saying Divrei Torah to the Olam, to our wonderful Kehillah. And unfortunately, I can't see anyone. We can't be together. This is a Sarah. It's a difficult time for all of us. But even though we're all apart, we all have to realize that we're all together. And the same Kehillah we were part of as of last Shabbos, we were all able to be together. Be'ezer Hashem, we're together now. And Be'ezer Hashem, soon be together physically again very quickly. As we head into Shabbos and at the current state, as of on Thursday at around 5 p.m., it appears that we're not going to be meeting together over Shabbos. It's a very difficult time for all of us to think there's going to be a Shabbos. The Shtibel is not going to have a minyan. When was the last time the Shtibel didn't have a minyan on Shabbos? And I thought that it's an appropriate time for us to just maybe try to be mechazik, strengthen ourselves in something, try to, more than strengthen, but try to make sense out of what is going on around us, and that something constructive should come from that. That's really the goal of this little Dvar Torah, this little drasha, is to try to make something constructive, productive, that we become better Yidden as a result. The first thing we have to realize is that we are in the middle of an Nisayon. A Nisayon is a test. We're in the middle of a test from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no question about it. And when one is going through a Nisayon, when one is going through a test, there are two things that one must keep in mind, essential that one keeps in mind. Number one is the fact that we're taka being tested. There's no question about it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we spoke about last Shabbos, is there, kivyachol, with the scorecard, seeing how we act throughout the day. How do we act at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 10 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at 9 o'clock at night, when our schedules are so drastically different, so altered? How are we acting? The first thing to keep in mind is there's a constant state of Nisayon. We are being tested. But lest a person become overwhelmed by that notion, the second thing one must keep in mind when one is being tested, when going through a Nisayon, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not send a Nisayon that a person can't manage. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not send a Nisayon that a person can't be successful. Every test that we have, every test that our forefathers had, Avram Avinu went through 10 Nisayonis, the Aketas Yitzchak, according to most, was the pinnacle, was the highest Nisayon, to shech his own son. But he could do it. Hashem does not send a Nisayon to a Yid that he cannot be successful in that Nisayon, that he cannot overcome the challenge. As difficult as this situation is with this coronavirus, Lamaisa, we all can rise to the challenge. Those are the first two things we must keep in mind, that we are being tested, as always, and we can definitely be successful if we have the right focus. The problem is often we're lacking focus. We must have a goal. We must have something that grounds us, and then success will come. There is a Sefornoi that I'd like to base this idea on in the beginning of Parshas Yisro that we laid together in Shul a number of weeks ago. And we all know Yisro came from where he came from Midian, and he left everything he had, and he came to the Jewish people. What moved Yisro, or better yet, what was his quote-unquote proof that Yiddishkeit was the only and the correct religion? He went through every single religion. What was it about? And it says, the nisim that he heard, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for Klal Yisrael, what exactly was it that made him realize that he wants to be a Yid? Was it the Groiskeit? Was it the greatness of the Kriyas Yamsuf, of the Makis? What exactly was it about the Nisim that occurred to Klal Yisrael, the miracles that made Yisro realize? So the Sforno says, on Perek Yud Ches Pasuk Yud Aleph, Ata Yodati, Yisro says, now I know. Yediyah means, Yodati means a clear understanding. Ki Gadol Hashem Mikol HaElokim, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is greater than any other force in the world, any other deity, any other God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Gadol Mikol Elohim. Ki B'davar Asher Zodu Aleihem. Because with that which they, meaning the Egyptians, conspired against Klal Yisrael, that's what happened to them. Explains the Sforno. Ki hitzil es ha'am, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved Klal Yisrael, ba'oisoi ha'davar atzmai asher zodu ha'mitzriyim aleim shel Yisrael. In exactly the same way that the Mitzrayim subjugated Klal Yisrael, that is exactly how Hashem punished the Mitzrayim. For example, Hashem killed the Bechorayim, Hashem killed the firstborn, Makas Bechoris, just like the Mitzrayim killed the Jewish baby boys, threw them into the river, drowned them. V'tibiyam biyam, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu drowned the Mitzrayim in Kriyas Yamsuf. Just like the Egyptians did that to the Jewish babies. And says this Fornoi that Yisro said that no nation thought that any force in the world can be Mishalem Mida Keneged Mida B'chol Davar, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that any entity can pay back the Mitzrayim Mida Keneged Mida. Maybe in one area, but to see that every single thing the Mitzrayim did to the Yidden, there was a force, there was an entity, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was able to pay them back in the same exact capacity. It says Yisro, that proves that the Yiddish Eibishter is the Eibishter, and there's nothing else to discuss. And he came to Yiddish. And if you go through the Makkahs, there are some Haggadahs that do that. Every Makkah was in fact a Midah. The Medrash Rabbah explains how each Makkah was a Midah Keneged Midas. This concept of Midah Keneged Midah is what brought Yisroi to Yiddishkeit. That is a certain clear hashgacha, a certain clear indication that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs everything if he not only punishes the wrongdoers, but does so in the form of Midah Keneged Midah. That's what the Sforno says. So if we try to apply this to us today, to this epidemic, whatever you want to call it, this sorrow that we're facing, for sure the idea is Midah Keneged Midah, as many Rabbanim are saying, Midah Keneged Midah. In my own thought process, when I was thinking about, I've all been thinking about what's been going on, so there are things that we're lacking. There are things now that due to the serious health concerns, the threat to life, there are certain things that we can't do. And there are certain things we're losing out on, that we're lacking as Yidden, we're lacking. But then there are other things that we're gaining. And I think if we look at these two areas, that which we're losing and that which we're gaining, I see personally for myself, I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is kind of pointing an arrow in a certain direction and is giving us guidance in what we have to fix. So let's start with what we're losing, what we're lacking, and that's the obvious thing. We can't get together. We can't daven b'tzibur. We can't say Hey Shmei Rabbah. We can't say Baruch Hu. We have to realize the koyach, and we all do realize, definitely in the Hollywood Shtiba, we all realize the koyach of tefillah, the koyach of kedushas beis haknesses, of davening in a shul, with its tzibur, the ability to hear chazaras hashatz, all the amenim that we get, 19 when we answer chazaras hashatz, the Baruch Hu, the kedusha, the kaddish, how that affects the olamis, how that affects, how that protects us, and we're missing all of that. It's not there because it's usher. We can't do it at this point. That's what we're lacking. We're lacking the Beis HaKnesses. We're lacking the Beis HaMedrash. These are the things that we are lacking. What have we gained? But there is something I think that we have gained. I've been speaking to many of our Kehillah, many of the members of our Kehillah, and other people as well. And I've heard a certain recurring theme from many of you. And that is when Shacharis is 7:10 and Mincha is 7:20 and Ma'ariv is 7:39. So those are rigid times. And that's the way it is. That's how it has to be. But when all of a sudden Shacharis, I can make a time for myself when I'm ready to daven. Hopefully it's not too late in the day. But there's a person is able to optimize his time where his mind is clear. Someone was telling me the kavanah he's had chutz from the fact that we're in an Eis Tzara and we feel vulnerable. We're always vulnerable. We feel it especially now. We should never lose that feeling of vulnerability. That feeling of unsettledness, that feeling of, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We should always have that. It's healthy to a certain extent. But besides that, the fact that I'm able to daven when it's the best time for me, and as we spoke about in the past, it should be a consistent time more or less every day. But I can make sure that my mind is free. I can focus on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a Gavalda Gemaila. A person can make sure that he can deal with a certain issue with the children, maybe. He can deal with other things and make sure that when he approaches his tefillah, he's not bound by the 7:10 shachos, and the 7:26 yishtabach, and the 7:32 shmon esrei. He has time to get himself ready. One nakuda. A second and similar nakuda, some have mentioned to me that now they're able to extend their davening a little bit, which I'm very proud to hear that that's what our Kehillah is talking about, and that's the benefit they feel of davening at home, is we can extend our tefillah. And there are 3 kapitloch that every siddur has in the beginning of the siddur. And if one says them, it puts them in a mindset that's totally different than running into the shul and hopefully getting there early, if not on time, putting on towels and tefillin and starting right away. There's a certain mindset that a person gets him or herself into when he starts with Ma Toivu Ahalecha Yaakov Mishkan Eisecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, Yaakov, your dwelling places, Yisrael. Bani Baroiv Chastecha Avoy Veisecha. As for me, through your abundant kindness, I come into your house. We think about it now. What a chesed from the Borei Olam that we have the opportunity to come into his house. And we say Ma Toivu now, we can say it with Yishuv Hadas, we can say it slowly. We understand the beauty of the Jewish home. We understand the beauty of a Beis HaKnesses, a Beis HaMedrash, and realizing it's all from a HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed. I was blown away on Monday morning when I said this. Only with your abundant kindness can I come into your house. The place where your Shechina is Shoira. Ma Toivu is the first kapitel. There's another kapitel which sets the stage for davening. Adon Olam, Master of the world. Hashem Molach, the Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra. Kadosh Baruch Hu reigned before anything was created. He's the Kadma in the Chol Davar. After all is done, I'm skipping a little bit. Hashem, the awesome one, will reign alone. He was, he is, he will always be with splendor. It goes on to show the greatness of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one where I seek refuge. In a Kadosh Baruch Hu's hand, I give myself over. When I sleep, when I wake up in the morning, I'm always giving my neshama as a bikadon to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Adon Olam sets the stage. Who are we davening to? And the third kapitel. Yigdal Elokim Chai v'Yishtabach Nimtza v'Ein Eis El Mitziusai. Kadosh Baruch Hu, it should be exalted and praised. He exists unbounded by time in his existence. Kadosh Baruch Hu is l'mayla min hazman. A very healthy thought for a yid to have, not only every day, at least once, but before he davens. Echad v'Ein Yochid ki Yichudai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one. There's no one that has the same oneness like HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. If one looks in the Rambam, in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, where he explains how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a oneness that can't be halved. Every other oneness you can break in half. You have a tissue box, I can cut in half. Anything that's one, I can divide into two. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a oneness that's not divisible b'chlal. Ein lo d'musa guf ve'eino guf, doesn't have a body. And the kapitel goes on. Torah's emes nosen la'amoy kel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah's emes. Al yad nevi'ah ne'eman be'ezeh to Moshe Rabbeinu. Lo yachlif hakev lo yomir dosei. Nothing's going to change. Religion is forever. Lo ilamim. The zulasa will never change. Soife v'yodeas soreinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what's in our hearts. Mapit l'soif davar b'kad mosai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the end from the beginning. Goymel ish chesed kimifaloi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a person what he deserves. Weist ois. We deserve this right now. Loisin the Rasha Roker Rishasai. We're not Rishaim Baruch Hashem, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a Rasha based on his Rishus. Yishlach leketzi yamin mishicheinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send Mashiach lifdois b'chakei ketzi shuhasai to redeem those who are waiting for the salvation. To say these three kapitlach before davening and to take a few minutes, 30 seconds each one, puts a person in a mindset. And so too at the end of davening, now there's more time. We're not rushing off to work. We're not rushing off to bring our kids to school. You have the Sheish Zechiras, the 6 remembrances. Each one is a mitzvah. I chap around 6 mitzvahs daraisa at the end of davening. Just remember Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, and what Hashem did to Amalek, and not to speak Lashon Hara, and Ma'amid Har Sinai, and the Ma'aseh Egel, and Zechira Shabbos. You can say it like a mensch. After that, the Shloisha Asa Ikrim, the 13 principles of faith. A person finishes davening, he says, Ani Mamin, the Munashaleim, I believe, Shahabayre Yisbarach Shmoihu Bayre Umanig L'chol HaBrud. Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the show. He's manhig. He leads every creation. And he alone made, he makes and will make everything. Kadosh Baruch Hu does everything. Imagine davening with this, so to speak, sandwich of Ma'atoivu Adonolam Yigdal at the end of davening, the Sheish Zechiras and the Ani Mamin. It just sets the stage for davening. So if we take what we're lacking, which is the 7:10 Shachris, the 7:20 Mincha, the 7:40 Ma'ariv, and if we take what we've gained, which is the ability to maximize our kavanah, when we're missing that rigidity, which is good and we have to have, but we can maximize our kavanah, we can pick a time that's best for us to daven. We can say, we have more time to say the kapitlach that from a halachic perspective are not as important as every kapitel in Pesukei de Zimra, because Kriyash or Shema, Shemon Esrei, but in a sense they're also as important, because that, I think, at least personally, makes the difference between someone who is davening by rote and someone who is davening to the Borei Olam. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Rachmana li baboy. Hashem wants us to daven to Him. That's exactly what Hashem wants. These are all things that Be'ezer Hashem, it's temporary. It's not going to last for a long time. This is something, it's a certain gain, a certain matana that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, the ability to focus on Him, on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as opposed to the tefillah. We have to realize that tefillah is to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's a gewaldige opportunity. I would recommend, at least to myself, bli neder, to say these 3 kapitlach before I start davening Shacharis. At the end of Shacharis, to say the Sheish Zechiros, as well as the Ani Mamins. And with that, you start your day off on the right foot. Not just discharging a religious obligation to pray with a quorum, but I connected to the Borei Olam. I leave Shacharis at 8 o'clock, whatever time it is. I connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu who runs the world. And I realized that when I get into my car, after the coronavirus is finished, over, it's gone. Life goes back to normal life. Life doesn't go back to normal. My bracha is to all of us that life never goes back to normal. The coronavirus should leave right now. But life keeps with its new normal, which is realizing that davening is the chance to connect to the Borei Olam. And Be'ezer Hashem, we should all be zoiche to internalize this idea. And Be'ezer Hashem, in the coming days, we'll share many ideas with each other, how to be mechazik, and to realize that this doesn't happen for no reason. There's a reason it happens. And we're just trying, not saying why things happen, just trying to give ourselves a focus to observe what's going on, and give ourselves a focus, and grow from that, and grow together from that. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Wishing everyone a good Shabbos, a wonderful Shabbos, a peaceful Shabbos, a healthy Shabbos. I look forward to seeing everyone, Be'ezer Hashem, very, very soon. And this is all behind us, and we can work together physically to go weiter and be marbe, kvod shamayim.